Hello everybody, my name is Ronja Engarde, and welcome back for more Pokemon Platinum. In the last part, we, took care of the gym in Cantaloupe City and, kind of went further into the story, even though I've completely neglected to even, mention or acknowledge the story whatsoever. I hope nobody watches this is like super sad about me not paying attention to the story, but or that's not why I play these games. So I'm sorry if that's bothering you. Ooh, let's just air slash this one. Why the heck not? Let's get it out of the way. I mean, I did use fly on Smoothie, but that was mostly just to get it, to safety. So that it doesn't get bullied by the Krogunk. And it is pretty safe, seeing that the one thing that Tropius actually excels at in its stats is defense. Well, it is actually, quote unquote mixed, or well, not mixed, but balanced, I suppose, because it has. All of its stats are in the general vicinity of each other. I don't think any of its stats are more than 20 points away from each other. But it definitely has a more higher defensive stats than it has offensive stats, to say the least. And that is also kind of unfortunate since grass flying, not the best defensive type. Actually that is the fault of, not so much the flying type, because the flying type is actually, kind of useful, defensively, for a lot of different reasons. But it is definitely the fault of the grass type, because, grass just brings with it so much, so many, okay, just grass on its own, not coupled with anything, you have a weakness to fire, ice, flying, bug, I already mentioned fire, poison, friggin', yeah, that is just one type, and it's weak to, I don't think there are more, but that's at least 5 types, 2 of them being incredibly common. Fire and ice being used by plenty of different Pokemon. Oh, no. And I think the Pokemon that have the most weaknesses are, they're all grass types. Like, the top 5 Pokemon with the most weaknesses are all grass, I believe. Or, at least, a lot of, I think Exeggutor, along with Execute and Celebi and the Abomasnow family, I think those are the ones with the most weaknesses. Seeing as, especially if you see grass and ice, which are 2 of the worst defensive typings. I mean, putting those together is just asking for trouble. I mean, Psychic is not the worst one, but it just couples so terribly with grass, again, defensively, so, yeah, kind of a SOL on that one. It's actually kind of sad, because it makes, particularly the Abomasnow family, makes it so hard to use in a Nuzlocke. It's pretty much, well, it's not impossible. I don't want to throw the big I word around, but it makes it very hard because not only, okay, doesn't have the best defenses, just in general. It is slow, so it's most likely going to be outsped by something. Its defensive typing is horrible, meaning that pretty much everything has something super effective against it. And if that wasn't bad enough, it also has a snow warning, which means that it's gonna cripple the entire the rest of your team. Since, you know, the only Pokemon that aren't hurt by hail are ice types. So either you're going to have more than one ice type on your team, or you don't have one of those rare Pokemon that aren't hurt by hail, like the Clefairy family, for example, or something like that. Or the entire rest of your team is going to be gimped slightly by having, you know, Snover and Abomasnow on your team. Which is so sad, because it just makes people not want to use them. Like, for legitimate reasons, but like, it's like, oh, poor things. Especially Snover, because Snover is actually legitimately kind of cute. And, you know, Abomasnow is like a Pokemon that is really fun on paper, because like it gets a lot of cool moves. Like it gets Wood Hammer, and it gets 100% accurate Blizzards because of its ability, unless, you know, you happen to encounter the one trainer that has either like a Hippopotas or a Pokemon with a weather move, which, you know, how fucking likely is that that you're gonna get, or something like that. And then it also has like a lot of different like fun other moves. Like it get, ooh, that's lucky. Like it gets Water Pulse for coverage, which a lot of people, I don't think there's a lot of people that realize that it actually gets Water Pulse. And I believe, I think Candace's Abomasnow might have Water Pulse. Don't know, actually. But then it also has like Focus Blast, and, you know, I think it might get Leech Seed, and, you know, in general, it has like a fun move pool. It's kind of fun trying to abuse Hail. So on paper, it's kind of fun. But then actually using it, it's more annoying than anything, because you really have to baby it. Because it's a very good chance that your opposing Pokemon is going to have something that's super effective against it. And, you know, I specifically said that it's very hard to rationalize using it in a Nuzlocke specifically, since, you know, a Pokemon fainting means, you know, you lose that Pokemon, and all the time and items that you spent, well, all the time and items you spent investing in it, that is just gone. So, like, you definitely want to try and invest in Pokemon that actually you believe are gonna actually last more than, you know, a couple of battles before it keels over from an ember. And yeah, that's another thing, that not only is Ice Grass not the best defensive typing, just because of the sheer number. Oh, Christ. Just because of the sheer number of types that it's weak to. But also in general, it means that it's 4x weak to fire, which is not a type you would want to be 4x weak to if you had to be 4x weak to anything. I think like one of the better types to be 4x weak to would have to be like, I don't know, Steel or Poison. Just something that, you know, isn't really used by most people. Well, I think that is more before Generation 6, when Fairy types were introduced, which I feel like might have been, like, from a competitive standpoint, it would be the reason why they introduced Fairy types, because, well, Poison and Steel needed something to be super effective against. Because really they, even Pokemon that were of the Steel and Poison type, sometimes, you know, opted not even to use the Steel and Poison type moves, if they had another stab instead. Well, there are some examples. For example, that Bronzong would actually use Steel, since, you know, a Gyro... What is it? Gyro or Gyro? gyro, I suppose. A gyro ball from a Bronzong with max attack and minimal speed. That's gonna hurt. So, I can definitely understand it using steel. Yeah, sure. And, you know... But yeah, but then, when Fairy was introduced, there was, you know, an actual reason to use steel and poison types again. Steel and poison type attacks, I should specify. And even Pokemon that weren't of those types still used those moves sometimes, which is kind of incredible. Like, I believe some of the birds actually started using Steel Wing, which, you know, before this point was like Steel Wing, like, what a joke. Because, like, why would you ever use Steel Wing? I mean, you could make the... Oh, fuck, I need Rock Smash too. Ugh. Can I learn somebody Rock Smash temporarily? Let's see. I suppose I could get rid of Thunder. Actually, yeah, let's get rid of Thunder, because I don't want to get rid of Blizzard, because, you know, it would be fun to try and abuse the fact that we're going to go through a lot of snow and hail, specifically. And, you know, Thunder doesn't cost that much, so it's not a huge loss, really. Plus we're gonna need Rock Smash later anyway, so... what was I talking about? Holy moly. Yeah, Steel Wing. You might make the argument that, well, okay, if you're, well, a normal flying type, which a lot of the birds are that learn Steel Wing, like, well, Steel Wing would be kind of useful for example, well, not for example, but specifically for rock types, which, you know, you wouldn't be able to hit at all with normal or flying type moves unless they somehow had a secondary type that was weak to flying, which, you know, when would that ever happen? But then, the counter argument is, you would never really leave a flying type out against a rock type to begin with, but then also the fact that a physical attack is not going to do much against a rock type. On top of the fact that that physical attack isn't even going to be a same type attack bonus, and the fact that Steel Wing isn't even one of the stronger physical attacks to begin with. So, like, there's really no reason to have Steel Wing on a flying type. Like, maybe in an in-game run, I mean, if you have an available move slot, you might as well learn it. Like, there's no reason to just not learn it at all if you have an available move slot. But, like, there's no reason to keep it over other better moves when, you know, if you ever do encounter a rock type, were you really going to keep it out against it anyway? Probably not. You would probably switch to something that could take, I don't know, a rock throw or a rock slide, not your freaking frail, like, bird that's gonna keel over to our, you know, a pebble. Pebble, what a funny word. Funny stuff. Jeez. Now, I do kind of, like, my rules are a little flexible when it comes to areas that have, like, radically different encounter tables. So you do kind of, I would kind of count this as a separate area. But I don't really feel like taking care of this right now. Again, I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the the L shape on the bottom of the map, in that if I ever do need another Pokemon, I'm gonna come back for it, but if not, I'm just gonna have it as like an eighth of my sleeve. But now we're at Route 216 with probably some of the best music in the entire Pokemon series. Just so good. And wild Pokemon. Hooray! And speaking of Snover, hooray! Now this is kind of a risk, but I am a risk taker. 1, 2, 3. Hooray! Snover was caught. Now what to name you, little guy? I wonder what I should name you. Seemingly curious about people that gather around footsteps they find in the snowy mountains. No. 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 I saw the word curious. And that was it. Welcome to the group. Oh. The thing is, I don't really know how you would really, like, say that even. Like, I'm not even gonna start. I think I'm gonna do the same thing I do in Paper Mario with Lady Bow. In that, you know, I'm just gonna say whatever feels most natural at the moment. Because, like, who the hell even knows what that name is supposed to be? Like, Bow, Boo, Bo, like, girl, who the hell knows? Ain't nobody got time for that. Now, this is something I really, really like, is that, you know, you come here, Route 216, everything is fucking covered in snow. What do you expect? Well, you expect all the trainers to just use ice types, like, oh, friggin' super duper boring, because, you know, that's kind of a thing I don't like, when you reach an area and you just immediately know what all the trainers are gonna have. Like, that is just not fun. This, however, is so much fun, because, you know, what kind of trainers are gonna be here? Well, you're probably gonna encounter, this is not good. You're probably gonna encounter some, like, skiers and snowboarders, which we are gonna encounter later. But, like, who other than those kind of people would be here, you know, in the harsh climate of the snow and the hail and the whatnot? Well, ace trainers, of course. And what do ace trainers have? A lot of freaking weird, cool, different Pokemon. I love that. They're, like, here's really the part where you start encountering, like this is where Platinum really starts to shine when it comes to, I don't know, again, using the word flavor, but yeah, this is really where it starts, you know, really showing, is that, you never know what they're gonna use. Like, it's just fun to guess. Like, ooh, I wonder what I'm gonna see next. And that is something that I really, you know, want from the series, just in general. It's just, I don't want to be, like, super duper, like, oh, wow, I wonder what I'm gonna encounter next, and, you know, not be surprised whatsoever. But have, like, these ace trainers, for example, it's just so good. And it's kind of, well, I don't really know why, but in Generation 7, they kind of did the same thing with the Aether Paradise, where the Aether Paradise grunts, I think, I don't actually remember if they have a different name other than grunts. But they used, like, completely weird, varied Pokemon. Like, they didn't really have a theme at all. But, I don't know, like, I did like it. I definitely appreciated that it wasn't just, you know, one very specific theme that was gonna, you know, get super duper boring and stuff. But I feel like maybe they could have been a little more coherent, because I feel like with like a team, I feel like maybe they could have, like, not super coherent, because again, that would have been boring. I don't know. I feel like that is, like, I feel like I can come with a lot of different good issues with, for example, Generation 7. But that one in particular is very much like a, oh, you're gonna complain about that now? Like, that sounds like a, I don't know if there is a saying for this in English, but it's a, we call it like a luxury problem, luxus problem, where like, oh, well, oh yeah, first world problem, duh. Like, that's very much like a first world problem when it can, you know, especially considering all the other, like, varied Pokemon, no, a Pokemon theme for the Aether Paradise runs is not on the top of the list of shit Generation 7 needs to figure out. There's a laundry list of things that Generation 7 needs to figure out before that. So like, if that was the only quote-unquote problem Generation 7 had, it would have been perfect, because like, that's not really a problem at all. And let's just, you know, use these people's bed, because we rude. And I think actually that is gonna be a good stopping point, because that would be a good old 22-minute episode about, so to try and make these actually a watchable length, I'm gonna be seeing you guys in the next time. Goodbye.